second recharge rate is invaluable for getting enemies off points, disrupting their advance, or just generally messing with their formation. It is worth pointing out that the sound wave can only be blocked by Reinhardt's shield, Zarya's shield, Mei's ice block, and Reaper's breath. Lucio has a deceiving health pool of 200. On the first glance, one might think that Lucio is very squishy, and in reality, he's definitely the tankiest support in the game. Perhaps the tankiest hero in the game if you play him correctly. With the healing song, Lucio can regenerate 12.5 health a second, and further increase it to 40 health per second by amping it up. And if you constantly switch between your healing and your speed song to mitigate incoming projectiles and damage, Lucio can actually stay in the front lines almost indefinitely without dying. His passive wall climb ability further increases his mobility, allowing for unpredictable escapes and travel paths. Lucio can also successfully dance around an enemy payload with the whole enemy team on top of it, completely stopping its advance. As stated previously, it is very important to time your ultimate correctly due to its lengthy recharge time, and using it to counter enemy ults is just a terrible idea. A much better choice would be just to switch to your speed boost and amp it up, allowing both you and your teammates to get away to safety, while saving your ultimate for crucial team pushes or counter pushes. Now, another good advice when using your ultimate is to switch to your speed song, as you will not be able to heal anyone anyway when you use your ult. Now, speaking of speed, remember how I mentioned that you can maintain your full amp speed without losing it? Well, the way to do it is to bunny hop, as your boost almost runs out. You can see it on the screen. That being said, you cannot switch to heal song while bunny hopping, as your speed will be lost. Another spin-off to bunny hopping is to bunny hop without using your amp up and just constantly switch between healing and speed, allowing you to be effectively healing 50% of the time while still maintaining the speed increase. However, I don't really see many benefits to this, as a 1 meter per second speed increase is not game breaking, but losing 50% of your healing, that's quite hefty, that's game breaking. Now that being said, it can be situationally helpful, like it can help you outrun some of the melee heroes if they're trying to chase you. Now the next tip is common sense, but I'm still going to mention it. You need to constantly switch between speed and healing depending on the situation. Don't just always be sitting in one, healing or speed. Just constantly switch depending on the situation. Also, in previous patches, it was possible to wall climb straight up a flat wall. However, this was patched. There is still a method, however, to climb up a corner. It takes quite a bit of practice, but when executed properly, it can provide your team with constant healing or auras, as they will always be in your line of sight, and give your team invaluable knowledge of the enemy position. If I've missed any cool tips or tricks, please let me know in the comments. Also, if you have any comments or feedback regarding my new guide layout without section transitions, make sure you let me know. I want to say a massive thank you to
release, overcrowded.
Must have been packed to the gills. They couldn't cram your 3-foot ass in there. You didn't tell me I'd have to get in the suit again.
Willie? Willie, it's me, Thurman. What are you doing? You fell.
Kid, are you a complete retard?
No, I'm top of the spectrum.
You're standing on my spot.
Really, that's funny. I don't see your name on it anywhere.
You...
I'm 21, officially a man.
You're 21 already. That's creepy. So you haven't done it with anybody yet?
No. Come on, baby. Come on. Get a bite of this pumpernickel bread.
No!
I want Minecraft, Halo 5 Guardians, Rise of the
That's right, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. You could be speaking Swahili, and I wouldn't know any better.
Grand Theft Auto 5.
Nah, I don't care.
I got an associate who's got this thing all lined up.
What's it been, 15 years?
Mom.
One thing's for sure, you still hit like your daddy.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Overwatch game. In this one, I'm going to talk about Lucio. a little bit more advanced strategies with Lucio. I'm not an advanced player probably, but I feel like I am kind of catching on to some stronger techniques that you can use with Lucio. So Lucio is a support character. He's a healer. He's got a kind of line of sight healing, so if people are near you, they're just going to passively get healed. He can boost his healing with the thing on the middle of the screen right there on his reticule. He's got the healing yellow charge right now. You can also switch that to the green, which is the speed boost. Now, that's really key to understanding Lucio, is that he heals people around him, but he also has that speed boost. And when you get better at Lucio, you'll get more confident in switching to that speed boost and knowing that you're okay, because one of the more important things as Lucio is to keep yourself out of line of sight. I do an okay job here. One of the things they need to set up here is they got a Widowmaker, they got a Reinhardt, we have a Reinhardt. That Widowmaker is really good at picking me off, and she does a few times, I think. But that's something you really need to pay attention to as a Lucio, because you need to stay out of her way, because she doesn't have to do, you don't have much health, you have 200 health. She can take you out in like a headshot. I think she might be able to take you out in 2 regular body shots. So that means that you really have to stay out of the way, especially if it's a good Widowmaker. Especially, and also because the Widowmaker is likely used her ultimate ability, which reveals all the enemies on the map. So that means that she can see where you are, probably. I mean, and you're gonna be near the tank, right? If you have a Reinhardt, your Lucio is going to be near them. Now, one of the other things is on our team, we had a Mercy, or eventually we had a Mercy. It doesn't look like we have a Mercy now, but the Mercy really helped out because she was able to direct heal with her stronger heals on individual people, including myself. And I was able to kind of keep everybody topped off and everybody moving quickly when we needed to, because there are moments in this match where it's very important that people move quickly. I think one of those points is when people use ultimates. So when Bastion, there's an enemy Bastion that's quite annoying. You saw earlier. He's pretty good. He's good at sneaking behind our lines and catching us off guard, which is what Bastions are pretty good at. He uses his ultimate ability, which is his tank mode, and that will just start destroying me. It's like Pharah up close, right? It's like a little Pharah, and I think it does more damage than Pharah. So, like, you need to get out of his way very quickly. Now, obviously, some of that requires timing on your own end. You have to just know when to move out of the way, but if Lucio gives you a speed boost, it helps because you can just, you know that you have a lot more time to get away. One of the things with this map, and all this kind of stuff, I guess my disclaimer would be that all this stuff kind of applies to this map, and I think it's Volskaya? I don't remember. I'm bad at the map names. This map. This ending point here is tough to get because you have to go through this big choke point. I mean, there's other little areas, but they're high up, so it's hard to drop down, and there's this big middle area where the enemies are going to be controlling that point. It's very hard to get in there. As you can see, we're pushed back in this hole, and this is a bad point. I was really trying to get out of here because all that Reinhardt would have had to have done is get up to the doorway and just ram us, so that was hard. Now, one of the other things with Lucio too is that you can use his primary fire, which is those little beats, those green beat things flowing out of his flowing out of his gun. Those can pick people off without them noticing, which is pretty useful because it shoots quickly and they just keep floating towards wherever you shot. So you can kind of lead your shots and get used to kind of capping people, or just killing them if they're low on health, or just kind of annoying them. So Lucio can be annoying, especially since he's not a high priority target. He should be a priority target, but because he skates around as fast and he moves around and heals all the time, he's annoying to kill, unless you're like a Tracer or something. They didn't have a Tracer, they just had like a Bastion and stuff. And a Bastion would much rather probably just start drilling holes into our Reinhardt than try to deal with our Lucio. So I had an advantage just based on the team makeup of the other team. So yeah, so this is hard. So that Widowmaker really keeps me back. That Widowmaker's a strong counter to Lucio. And we kept losing our tank. See how our tank's dead right now. And one thing I kept trying to do in this match, and I feel like it helped, but I don't know if it actually did, but maybe it's a strategy on some scenarios. What I did is I popped my healing here, but I popped my speed boost, and I returned back to our...
Hello everyone and welcome to 5 tips for playing Lucio. In today's guide I'm going to talk about a few things, with the main points being when you should pick Lucio, how to use his abilities, and 3, how to position yourself in game. And so with that, let's get going. Lucio is one of the best heroes in the game, and for this reason, tip number 1 is that you can pick Lucio on any map. The characteristics that make Lucio so effective are that he is the only support that can heal several players at once, his speed boost ability can give your team an edge in many instances, and his ultimate sound barrier is excellent for countering enemy ultimates. Top Overwatch players understand this, and for this reason pick Lucio almost every match. You'll often see even 2 Lucios on control maps, usually because the double speed boost allows your team to stay on the control point at all times. Tip number 2 is to use speed boost across choke points, and when the only way you can save a teammate or yourself is through a high speed escape. This is a really important point to understand in order to get good at playing Lucio. Even with Amp It Up, healing boost only heals for about 40 damage per second over 3 seconds. Often this is not enough to save your teammate from death. At times during a match you'll see that a teammate is about to die and there's no way that you can save them with the healing that you can do. A situation that comes to mind is a Reaper pushes up very close to your teammate and is about to blast them away with their shotguns. At these moments your best option is to switch to speed boost and activate Amp It Up. If your teammate has any sense, which sometimes they don't, they'll realize that they have an opportunity to escape and will run to survive. While this doesn't relate to speed boost, I also want to give you a tip on using Soundwave, which is your right click ability that will push an enemy back, and speed boost together. You can save yourself from many deaths, especially ones against enemies like Roadhog, Reapers, and Reinhardts, who are close range heroes that are very deadly when in close range, by using Soundwave to blast your opponent backwards, switching to speed boost, and then activating Amp It Up to escape. Tip number 3 is to use Sound Barrier to counter opposing heroes when they use their ultimate abilities. I also recommend, if possible, to save Sound Barrier for when you're near a checkpoint or you are above 75% on a control point, because this is when teams usually are desperate and will push an objective very aggressively. Before I say more, I want to give you more information on Lucio's ultimate. Sound Barrier provides 500 HP that erodes at 100 HP per second over 5 seconds. Its short duration means you need to be very thoughtful when using it, since it can only protect your team for a very brief period of time. Sound Barrier is effective at countering enemy ultimates such as Junkrat's Riptide, Pharah's Rocket Barrage, Reaper's Death Blossom, Mace Blizzard, and other similarly dangerous abilities that can wipe your entire team. An advanced tip that I'll also point out is that during pro matches, teams usually deploy Sound Barrier and Mercy's Resurrect in combination. The opposing team will also do the same because they know that an ability like Sound Barrier means a team is about to push an objective. For instance, if several teammates die and Mercy uses her Resurrect on them, once they're up, Lucio will usually Sound Barrier to help the team recover from the wipe. Similarly, if Lucio deploys Sound Barrier first, it runs out and then teammates begin to die, Mercy will usually use her ultimate at this point. The reason for this combination of support ultimates is that highly coordinated teams will use their ultimates to push past choke points, take objectives, or secure control points. Thus, once a teammate commits to a push by deploying Sound Barrier for instance, the other teammates will use their ultimates to support that play and push forward. Before I move on to tip number 4, I just want to say at this point, if you're enjoying the video, to like this video and subscribe to my channel. It helps me out a lot. I usually produce gameplay videos, news videos, and guides for a few different games. Also, I always like to read the comment sections in the videos I post, so if you have something to say or you have a suggestion for another video, do leave a comment and I'll be sure to reply. Tip number 4 is to use the indicator in the center of your screen to see how many players are affected by your songs, and aim to keep this at a +4 as much as possible. This is important because in public matches, you'll often be the only healer. That means you're responsible for keeping everyone alive. As well, if you see a teammate in danger and need to speed boost them so they can escape, you may not reach them in time if you weren't positioned such that they're in range. I also say to aim for +4 because you can't realistically keep 5 members in range of your songs at all times. This is because of the range limit on your songs, but also because your songs require your team to be within your line of sight. So you need to be able to see them. Depending on the map layout and the awareness of your team, this can make it very frustrating to get your indicator over 3, but don't worry, that will happen. In terms of what is considered good healing, that will depend of course on the length of the match. I recommend that in a 10-minute match you aim to have 8,000 healing done. Tip 5 is all about positioning. I recommend recommend you find a position at all times where you're behind your team, hugging a piece of cover, and keeping 3 to 4 people in range and line of sight for your songs. Some guides recommend you stay in the center of your team to maximize healing, but I think this is unwise advice. You're a high priority target, thus your opponents will be trying to kill you the entire game. To avoid spending the entire game respawning, you need to position yourself such that your team can block opponents from reaching you. You'll often see pro players do this. They hang out in the back of their team with healing boost active, strafing side to side, and spamming choke points with their sonic projectiles. I'll also say that staying in the middle of your team at all times makes it more likely that in the chaos, you'll end up on the front line, making you an easy kill. Alright guys, that's it for me. Let's just summarize quickly what we talked about today. Tip number 1 is that Lucio is the best hero in the game, or one of the best heroes in the game, and you can use him pretty much on any map. Tip number 2 is to use speed boost across choke points, and when the only way you can save a teammate or yourself is through a high speed escape. Tip number 3 is to use sound barrier to counter opposing heroes when they use their ultimate abilities. Tip number 4 is to use the indicator in the center of your screen to see how many players are affected by your songs, and aim to keep this at 4 or greater as much as possible. The fifth and final tip that I gave you today is all about positioning. You need to find a position at all times where you're behind your team so that they can block for you, hugging a piece of cover, and keeping 3 to 4 people in range and line of sight of your songs. Once again, I want to say thank you very much for watching my video today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it and subscribe to my channel where I produce gameplay news and guides for a few games that I cover. As well, if you have something to say or you just maybe have a suggestion on what video I should make next, do leave a comment in the comment section down below. I'll make sure to read those comments and reply to each of them. So, with that, I'll see you guys later.
Overwatch. I'm taking the objective. Anyone else want some?
Xbox One S with 4K Ultra HD video and Blu-ray and high dynamic range gaming. The ultimate games and entertainment system.
With the recent changes to heroes like McCree and Widowmaker, there's been a shift in Overwatch hero choices, especially among professionals. I set out to discover which heroes are most frequently picked in tournament settings to help make smarter picks in my own competitive matches. So, with that said, let's talk about 5 heroes I saw picked in every match that I intend to use frequently in competitive matches. One of the most frequently picked heroes in competitive tournaments was Lucio. Lucio was picked every single game regardless of the team map or other heroes in the team's lineup. And while his abilities are excellent on their own, the poor survivability of Zenyatta also contributed, in my opinion, to Lucio's high pick rate. Lucio is great in any lineup because of his group healing, but also because this group healing enables Mercy to focus her high single target healing on those in immediate danger instead of trying to top up the team. His speed boost is also extremely valuable because it allows your team to pass dangerous choke points quickly, escape high damage ultimates, and evade heroes like Genji, which like to chase your supports. On top of these strong abilities, Lucio's Sound Barrier is one of the strongest ultimates in the game because it can counter most other ultimates, including Pharah's Rocket Barrage, Reaper's Death Blossom, Soldier 76's Tactical Visor, Junkrat's Riptire, and other similar high damage ultimates. The second hero I saw picked quite frequently was Reinhardt. Reinhardt was picked almost every match as well, although he was less popular on control maps like Lijiang Tao. The reason Reinhardt was picked so much is because his shield is a must-have. It allows your team to push objectives, cross choke points, and reduces the ultimates your opponents can generate by denying them damage and kills. I'll also point out that a big part of Reinhardt's value is that he enables his team to do their jobs much more easily. Trying to support on Lucio and Mercy without a Reinhardt can be a total nightmare as your opponent's offensive heroes can reach you easily. As well, many offensive heroes like Soldier 76 and Reaper can't do as much damage without the safety of a Reinhardt shield. Reinhardt's ultimate Earthshatter also has huge synergy with other heroes including Pharah, Reaper, Soldier 76, and others. A well-timed Earthshatter can easily cause a team wipe. The next hero I want to mention that was picked a lot was Reaper. With the recent nerfs to McCree, Reaper is on the field at nearly every moment during tournament matches. Prior to the patch, Reaper could be killed almost instantly by McCree's Fan the Hammer, but this is no longer the case. Besides his deadly ultimate, Reaper is so popular because with a little coordination with your team, specifically your Reinhardt and Lucio, Reaper can dive into a team, kill their Mercy quickly, and then use his Wraith form to escape after the kill is complete. Now this is so important because in many team fights, who the victor is will depend on who is able to shut down the enemy Mercy first. And thus, Reaper's ability to dive onto a team and quickly kill a Mercy is highly valuable, especially in high skill settings. Reaper is also effective against popular disruption heroes like Winston that like to chase your supports because his Hellfire shotguns do a lot of damage against targets with such high or large profiles. I will say that Reaper's main drawback is that he requires communication and coordination with your team. He can be killed quite easily on his own. However, with coordination from a Reinhardt or a Zarya to give him protection, as well as a speed boost from someone like Lucio, he can be an effective team diver, but it requires using communication, and it requires asking your team at key moments to call enemies out for you or provide you with abilities like the ones I mentioned. I just want to say at this point, if you're enjoying this video, to like it and subscribe to my channel, where I produce weekly Overwatch content and cover the release of new games. It helps me and it helps support the channel. So with that, let's move on to our next hero. Another hero pick that is not really a surprise was Mercy. Mercy was also picked every competitive match. Her high single target healing is excellent and damage boost can be devastating, especially when applied to heroes like Pharah or Soldier 76 with weapons that excel at harassing the enemy team. In addition to this, Mercy's ultimate is almost mandatory on Escort, Hybrid, and Assault maps, where a well-timed Resurrect ultimate can make the difference between a successful or failed objective push. I will also mention that the increase in Pharah's pick rate, a hero that we'll speak about in a moment, has also been a large buff to Mercy players. The reason being, Mercy can use Guardian Angel to fly up to Pharah, escaping many deaths in the process. So now that we've spoken about Mercy, the next hero I want to talk about is Pharah, arguably one of the best DPS heroes in the game right now. Pharah made an appearance nearly every tournament match that I watched, although she would sometimes be swapped out for Genji, depending on the objective, specifically whether there was sufficient cover for Pharah to use while floating, and whether she had a good line of sight on enemies she was trying to hit. Her resurgence in popularity is largely due to the Widowmaker nerf. Now that Widowmaker is less of a threat, and is also picked less because players know that she was nerfed, Pharah is much more effective pick in many situations. Pharah also does extremely well against Reaper, who, as I mentioned before, has become popular because of the McCree nerf. And so, this is because not only can her shift ability create distance between herself and Reaper, but also she can spot him trying to flank your team and eliminate him before he reaches your supports. I also want to say though that because Pharah has become more popular, especially on offensive lineups, you will see more Soldier 76 picks among defenders to counter her, because he is one of the most reliable hit scan characters that can deal with Pharah, as well as having the additional bonus of having a heal for his team. Alright everyone, that's it for me. Thank you very much for watching my video. Do leave a comment in the comment section down below letting me know what your favorite character in competitive Overwatch is. And if you enjoyed this video, do like it and subscribe to my channel where I produce weekly Overwatch content, as well as cover the release of new games. And so with that, my name is Tank Top Fox. I will catch you guys later.